Mark Deering here from REMAX. We have a great one for you today. I snagged Drew Bourne here, and he is going to talk to us a little bit about commercial real estate. So we are always talking about residential real estate, but I thought, we're doing a little bit more commercial real estate lately, and I thought what a perfect time to bring in a pro like this. And just a little bragging, he is the second largest commercial real estate agent in Michigan. He is right out of our office here in REMAX through Grand Rapids. So what a person to have sit next to you to ask some questions. Thanks, Drew, for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Love being here.
So before we jump too much into it, let's tell people a little bit about yourself. Like, what's your backstory, your family, and what got you into commercial real estate?
Yeah, so I grew up, born and raised in the northeast corner of Allegan County. Lived in the same township my whole life. Never really moved. I went to South Christian High School, Hope College. While I was at Hope, I started a tech company, and I left college and did not graduate Hope, but I spent way too much time and money there, and had a wonderful time. Still, some of my best friends came from there.
Sure.
And then, that was a very seasonal business, a tech company. So in the off season, I was messing around with other things I wanted to do, got involved in real estate. That was the good old days when you could buy a house for 20, 30 grand.
Sure.
And then,
you're not old enough to remember that.
Yeah, I was. We were doing it. And then I realized very quickly that houses were not my thing. And it was more, I really liked the business side of things. And, one year I was bored, and instead of, figuring out what I wanted to do next, I was like, all right, well, because interviewing a bunch of friends, families, businesses, and said, trying to figure out my next path in life. And I was like, I really like all of these businesses. And another gentleman said, well, why don't you just get involved in commercial real estate? You get to be in all the businesses all the time. And I'm a very numbers oriented guy.
Sure.
So it became a very easy transition where I jumped right in, head first. And I think I've maybe sold 4 residential houses in my entire life. I just don't, personally as a real estate agent and a broker, I just never, I just don't enjoy it. It's not for me. But when it comes to commercial, I live and breathe it, I dream it. And it's, for me, that's where my passion has become, where I love driving down a road and saying, I helped that company get to where they're at here. I was with that company when they started in this small little 1,000 square feet office, and now we're in 50,000 square feet. And that's what it's all about for me. It's how do we develop Michigan into being a better, version of itself, right? How do we, take it from where it is to where it's going? And that all, commercial real estate really is that intersection of business and real estate, and that's right. And I'm parked right there, and that's where I love to be.
No, that is so true. Me, I text probably once a month, if not, every couple months, hey, Drew, there's actually one, I just had another conversation. Obviously, I've been in the business forever, so I've got these business owner relationships, and they'll say, hey, I'm thinking about expanding. Hey, I'm thinking about whatever. You're always my first call. Hey, what do you got on the lakeshore with 15-foot, ceilings? Yeah. And yeah, you love it. You can tell. You say, right off the top of your head, you got these 5 or 6 different options and ideas, and you basically have to, similar to what we do in the residential world, you have to live and breathe on that inventory and know what a little bit different commercial real estate, because it's even more so relationships, because a lot of the relationships own a lot of that commercial real estate. Is that true?
Yeah, for the most part. It's we did a lot of deals last year off market just because the inventory is so slim. So it's not as much relationships necessarily with the client, whether that's the investor, the business owner, whatever, as much as it is the relationship with the other brokers in town too.
Sure.
Right. And having those well-established relationships with the that's just as important, because we're if there's 3,000 residential agents, there's 300 commercial agents, right? We're 10%. So it's a very small, tight-knit community, and maybe out of those 300, I don't know what the exact number is, but it's right around there. There's maybe only 110, 120 of them that are actually active and working and doing a lot of deals, if that. It's probably even smaller than that. It's probably closer to 30, that are actually out there, moving a lot of real estate, getting a lot of deals done.
Sure. Yeah, it's the whole 80-20 rule. We have that in the residential world too. Out of that 3,500, the top 20% is doing 80% of the business, or whatever you want.
Pareto's law.
Yep, exactly. So, not to go super elementary, but just in case some of our viewers don't know, commercial real estate. Like, what is commercial real estate? What would fit under that umbrella? What are you dealing with on a daily basis?
So it's any multifamily more than 4 units. That's an easy one. But if we look at all the classes of property, you got like your rural, ag, residential, high density residential, commercial, which would be like your just retail, office, things like that, industrial, heavy industrial, right? All the way down the line. We're 4 more units and then anything. So any business, and then on that side you have your investors, right? So you have the people who own the strip mall, own the large shopping malls, things like that. Then you have your owner operators who own the building that they're in. Then you have your people that are the tenants, right? So if you are a business looking to expand, looking to start your business, whatever it is, the people that are renting the strip, the space in the strip mall, or renting the industrial building. So it's a wide range of people. Mm-hmm. One day you're dealing with a business owner, and next day you're dealing with an investor, and next day you're dealing with an investor out of California.
Sure.
It's anybody and everybody. So it's every day we're interacting with some sort of commercial real estate, whether you're buying gas, grocery shopping, whatever it is. It's all of that and above. So.
Yeah, just even the last 24 months. Driving around, I look at buildings and I look at things different because of the different things we've been working with and working on, and it's a whole different animal. And it's very cool to see the difference. And me being an entrepreneur, I've got some project going up north and a lot of those things. It's cool to see, some of that unfold. And that's why one of the reasons I wanted to bring you here is there's a lot of people, I'm getting older, my age, that maybe have done well for themselves and want to invest in residential or invest in commercial, and it's good we've got somebody here, that can guide us around. So yeah, with the commercial real estate, I'm sure you've seen it all. We've got all our residential funny stories out there. You got any stories, like napkin stories about putting a big giant deal together on a napkin, or what's some of the unique ones that come to mind?
That's the fun thing. As much as in residential, it's no deal's ever the same, right? But at the end of the day, when you do as many deals as you do, it's a lot of the same, right?
Yeah.
Commercial is never that way, right? Like I've literally had deals where it's a land contract where I listed a building the next day. One day I showed somebody that afternoon, and that deal, it was done the next, right? It's just that quick. And then at the same time, we have deals that last months or years, right? Going through the development process, right? I've just started a new one right now on a riverfront project, right? To her as a multifamily, but along the municipality only wants multifamily on the second level. That means we're going to have to put retail in the front. So it's just, working with that. We're working with the state. We're getting grants. We're working with, townships, municipalities, state, federal. Like we're shooting for grants from private organizations. Like we're working on an industrial development south of Grand Rapids. Like we got $150,000 in a grant for all the site plans, right? Which it's those are soft costs that you never return. But if we can get that covered in a grant, that makes it work, right? Or hey, this municipality wants to build this development here. Wants this development done this way. Okay, well, Mr. Municipality, hey, that doesn't pencil. Like we can't make it cash flow. Here's the numbers. This is what's happening. We're doing it. And they're like, oh, okay, well, here's $500,000 to help you get your deal done.
Sure.
And so it's things like that we can do and we're able to do with a lot of that stuff to make it work. One of the things that I've loved doing is much like the right place for helping bring in businesses into town. I work with an organization called Y Combinator. If you're not familiar with that, Y Combinator is a very aggressive venture startup based out of California, right? So if you have a very good idea that you already have raised some money for and you want to take that business to the next level, to get your venture capital or PE money, you'll go through the Y Combinator process, and but a lot of those companies end up becoming, tens of millions or hundreds of millions or billion-dollar companies. Well, we in West Michigan are in a very unique situation where our real estate is still a lot cheaper than the rest of it. Where
Sure.
our industrial rates, even in the, for 30 years from 1980 to or 1990 to 2019, let's just say, industrial rates were between 375 and 450. That's what it was.
Sure.
And then COVID hits, and now all of it and everything got more expensive, right? Like there's some really old, not real practical buildings you can still get for $3-4, but your average industrial rates are 6, 7, 8,
Sure.
9. Well, okay, we'll just call it a 6.5 average around Grand Rapids. I was down in Florida in December for some work stuff, and those industrial rates are 11, 12, 15.
Wow.
So, we're still quite a bit
Sure.
cheaper in our regard. So when I
Places
can go
to
out,
have a business, to run a business.
yeah, and we have, it's affordable to live here. So if, we go to Mike, I'm going to say, yeah, well, we can, do this for this much cheaper, and we're able to put you in a building that you need 100,000 square feet. Well, we can do it for a quarter of the cost, or a third of the cost, or half the cost. When you're spending $1 million a year in real estate, it's a big number, right?
Yes.
So I love being able to bring some of those companies. I've done 2 of them. I brought them to Grand Rapids. Companies that both have over 300 employees that we brought to Grand Rapids, and we're able to say, hey, here's 300 employees that we need to hire.
Yeah.
So, creating that job, but also saving the company a lot of money as well, too, moving forward, because they're not having to spend twice as much on the real estate.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. Obviously we do relocation and, people coming in from California, Texas, wherever for their jobs, but that's exciting. I didn't realize that you had a couple big ones that you brought into town. We probably shouldn't say names.
Can't say names, but that makes it fun though, right?
Yeah.
It makes it's working with those cool companies and just having those relationships goes a long way.
Sure. So along those lines, let's talk about SBA loans. You mentioned grants, you mentioned these types of things. First off, what is SBA? And then how it's used, how common is it used, and its perks, I guess.
Yeah, so actually on the way in, I was talking with one of my favorite SBA lenders. He called me earlier today, probably doing his annual dialing for dollars. I'm still around here. But yeah, so I was talking to Jeff on the way in. And so the SBA is a Small Business Association. So it's a government-funded organization that is essentially backs your mortgage, right? So there's a lot of different programs, but essentially there's a 504 and there's a 7A. The 504 is really just real estate based. But then the 7A will finance equipment and other things like that.
Yeah.
But so if you are a small business looking to expand, it allows you the opportunity to invest or get a loan for your business, whether that's real estate, equipment, expand at another location, whatever it is, at a very, very minimal upfront cost, right? So,
Sure.
0% down, 10% down, 15% down. And the best part is on the real estate, they'll amortize it over 30 years. Whereas your standard bank, they're going to require 20% down, 25%, 30% down, and maybe you might be in a 7-year arm,
Sure.
10-year arm, or 5, 7, 10-year arm, 15 years or
Yep.
20 years. So when you work with the SBA, now you can spread that out. So yeah, you may be paying an extra couple points on a mortgage, but when you can say, oh, well, I'm spreading it out over 30 years, my payment just went down a lot. It is the bank only has to cover a certain percentage then of the loan. The SBA takes the other percentage.
So yeah, those SBA loans, I've had a couple different clients you reach out and talk about SBA loans. Talk a little bit about that too. The commercial side is different than residential side, where not only letter of intent versus just a purchase agreement, and then also from the lending side, it's your business plan. So much, and the confidence that lender has in your plan, and if you've got any experience.
Yeah, so, well, those are kind of two different things. Like one, just with the SBA, my wife and I just bought another investment property, and I guess this isn't an SBA, this is more on just on the lending side. When you go buy a house, they're pulling your credit, looking and all that kind of stuff. On a commercial side, they probably won't even pull your credit. They may look for your proof of finances, proof of funds, things like that. But other than that, it's all on the business. Does the business cash flow? Now, if you are on the SBA side, you're starting a business, expanding, whatever, they want to see a pro forma that shows that, hey, this extra space, this bigger space, this more space is going to allow you to produce X many more widgets. Or if you're new to it, like they want to know, do you have experience in this area? Well, how long have you worked flipping burgers before we're going to let you open this burger shop? So it's more they may require extra guarantees, things like that, where, it's just not the same. The lending side is not the same for a residential loan. From the SBA side, that's why the SBA is preferable for a lot of business situations, just because you can get a lot done with the state guarantee. Banks are a little bit more aggressive in taking those loans on.
Sure.
So it's why it works. And there's a few banks, there's a Michigan specific SBA as well too. It's not called the SBA, but it works really the same way, which is a lot less paperwork, a lot easier to get done. But there's only a couple banks around West Michigan that actually do that. So working with them in a lot of situations can be very, very beneficial as well, just because it can get it done faster and easier with sometimes better terms than the SBA is as well. Okay.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot right now too. Right when I thought I knew a little bit, I don't. That's why we call you. No, that's great stuff. So, I guess if you have any questions, write them in the comments below. Reach out to Drew specifically. You wanted to mention off your cell phone number in case somebody wants to reach out.
Yeah, 616-304-1015, and my email is just drew@drewborn.com, and you can just Google me, and I show up everywhere. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for spending some time with us.
Absolutely.
And we'll do a little follow-up, next year, maybe mid-year this year, kind of check in. How is the economy right now with, basically commercial economy? I mean, is it low inventory, high inventory?
Low inventory, high demand, and we need more inventory. We need some people to, start building some things for sure.
Same with housing. So thanks again, guys. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Stick around and learn some more on different videos.